Most of the time when these people be talking, I don't even hear them. They talk and they talk, but I do not hear shit when I'm near them. I swear to God that I can't.
What's up, guys? Welcome to what I would like to call the very first GSF Productions podcast. Today we are talking about Black Panther. So I got to see the movie last night, and this is going to be pretty much my initial thoughts, my reaction to the movie, my opinion on how good it was. So let's get this started. First of all, my name is J-Starwalker, the Geek Badass Hybrid, and I've been running this channel for a while now. I used to do reviews on my old channel, which is now my vlog channel, J-Raw the Technician. I'll link that down below. This channel is what I'm going to be doing reaction videos and reviews on moving forward. So, okay, no more wasting time. Let's get right into it. Black Panther. It was a very satisfying movie. That's the main thing I feel after seeing it. Like after seeing that movie, I'm like that was solid. That was really good. It was almost on the verge of mind blowing. Like this movie, the story is fantastic. There's so much depth to the story. When we talk about impact, I don't think its impact on the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that big in terms of the bigger picture and looking towards Infinity War. But as a solo movie, as just that 2 hours of film and the story surrounding Black Panther, it was fantastic. I think it's up there with one of the best solo superhero movies of all time. And I don't mean to overhype this movie, but it is legit that good. So yeah, really great story. Let's talk about the characters, because the acting in this movie is very good. Just so you know, I'm not really that good at pronouncing names, so I'm gonna be referring to people as other stuff. So yeah, just heads up for that. But Chadwick Boseman as Black Panther, we already knew how he was in Civil War. He's really good. He does his thing, man. Like, it's more of the same. And in Civil War, we saw him like consumed by vengeance, as at least like that's what he referred to it as near the end of the movie. Here we see him ready to become king, and he's calm, and we see how he's a good man. As I said in the trailer, you're a good man, and it's hard for a good man to be king. And that's really what this movie is about, how a good man can run his own country, Wakanda. And essentially this movie takes place after a week after Civil War, as we learn. And in Civil War, King T'Challa's father, he passed away. He died in the bombing. So now T'Challa, after the events of Civil War, trying to kill Bucky actually, and then getting Zemo, he went back to Wakanda. Now he needs to take over as king. He needs to become king, and now he faces other obstacles. Other people want the throne. Going back to characters, the villains. So Michael B. Jordan, I heard a lot of hype about him, that he is one of the best Marvel villains, probably the best Marvel villain. And I have to agree. I don't know if he's gonna be up there like as good as Loki, because Loki is hands down the best villain to ever appear in a Marvel movie. I don't know if he's as good as Loki. I mean, I have to watch this movie a few more times to see how he resonates with me. But like first impressions, Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger, he was excellent. He had powerful motives, and I really cared about what he was doing and why he wanted to accomplish the things he wanted to accomplish. I'll talk about him more later in the spoiler portion of this video. Back to characters. Lupita Nyong'o's character, she was really great. She added a lot of an element and emotional element to this movie. Also, T'Challa's sister, can't remember her name, but she added like the humor, and she was pretty good. Also the warrior, the general warrior, forgot her name, the bald girl, she was pretty badass. And the guy from Get Out, his name, Daniel something. I think he played W'Kabi. He's one of Black Panther's friends, and then he ended up kind of teaming with the villain. As you saw that in the trailer, him walking next to Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger. His character is really compelling. His motives, his whole character arc, I like that too. Another character that kind of surprised me was Martin Freeman's Everett K. Ross. We saw him in Civil War. We knew he would be in Black Panther. I just didn't expect him to have as big a role as he did. I thought he'd maybe be in like 1-2 scenes, but no, he was there throughout the movie, and he had a lot of nice moments. I think my prediction is the reason why he was built up so much in this movie is that maybe in Civil War or Avengers Infinity War, he probably is gonna have another big role. He might have a heroic death or something, but they want to make his death feel meaningful, so that, or maybe it's not even that, maybe they're just building him up to be another important character in the MCU going forward. Maybe he can take the role of Nick Fury in terms of how he relates to the characters and how characters look up to him. Because I think after this movie, a lot of people have earned respect for Everett K. Ross since he was a douchebag in Civil War. Moving on, another villain is Andy Serkis. It was nice seeing Andy Serkis, the real Andy Serkis, not CGI Andy Serkis, but Andy Serkis, real actor. Him as Claw in this movie. We saw him last time we saw him was in Age of Ultron, and in Age of Ultron, he gave me like a preview. I was looking forward to seeing him later in a future Black Panther movie, which we didn't know about at the time. But when we saw Claw and we knew he was a Black Panther villain, we knew Black Panther was coming. And then he ended up being in the movie. He was funny, and I just really liked him. However, I do think a bit like he had more potential as a character. I think he could have accomplished more. I'll talk a bit more about him in the spoiler section. Another character I want to talk about is Forrest Whitaker's character, because I didn't even know Forrest Whitaker was in this movie. Seeing him was a very pleasant surprise. He had a very good performance. His character I really liked. So there's that. The culture of this film, it's very strong. It's present, bringing this African culture, the language, what they do, the rituals, everything. Just everything about it. The attire. I thought it was really cool to see, because you don't really see this stuff in Hollywood movies too often. You don't really see anything like this. So for me, at least, in a superhero movie, which is all I watch, superheroes movies and Star Wars, I never really seen anything like this. Most movies like that just take place in like New York or outer space or any big city, and they get destroyed. But this being where it is, I think it was pretty cool. And it's like the culture is very strong, and just the African culture, bringing awareness to this, seeing how they live. And it is like such a question, because in this movie, Wakanda appears to the outside world as a third world country, but for real, they are the richest country in the entire world. And it makes you wonder, maybe there is something like this in Africa. It makes you wonder if Africa, given the tools that they could build up like this. And I'm talking about the poorer places in Africa. But let's move on from that. Humor. So humor, it's something you want to look out for in every Marvel movie, because over the past few years, their humor has started to become a bit criticized, getting very cringy and just like forced, unnecessary. Like, I think Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, I personally liked it, but I think the general consensus is that it was a decent movie. However, there's just too much forced humor and too much dumb jokes. Thor Ragnarok, I think, got away from that a bit. That was genuinely funny. However, like it was meant to be a comedy, but like you hate to see serious characters such as Thor and Hulk being turned into comic relief. I mean, it did work out at the end of the day, but then when you think about it, like, these guys are legends, and now look at them. Black Panther didn't do that. It had humor, but I don't think it tarnished the legacy of what Black Panther is and what he represents. It didn't make fun of the character at all. This movie takes itself very seriously and with good purpose. The humor in it was very subtle, and I think it worked well, contributing to the film. There was one part where I did think the humor was a bit cringy. It had something to do about shoes. And when I say shoes, if you watch the movie, you know which moment I'm talking about. If you didn't watch it, but you will, you'll know what I'm talking about when I say shoes. So that moment, I think that was just the only cringe moment of humor. Other than that, it was pretty good. So I've given this movie a lot of praise. But there's a few things I didn't like, because despite all the hype and all the praise this movie is getting, it is a really good movie, but it isn't perfect, as no movie is perfect. So what I didn't like is, I feel like some characters that were in spots could have been in different spots, and I think some characters were underutilized. Obviously, with some movies, some characters are going to take back seats, and that's what happened. It's unfortunate that it always happens in every movie, but if it happens, it happens. Another thing that kind of got to me a few times was the CGI, visual effects in a movie like this. There's going to be a lot of it, and not all of the visual effects are gonna look spot on. So yeah, there are a few parts of visual effects where you can tell, like, yeah, that's CGI, or like that could have had some more work on it. Just heads up, there's like this part with rhinos, and it just looks pretty bad to me. It looks terrible. So that's that. But I was never too disturbed. Sorry if you heard that noise. I was fiddling with a rubber band and it just snapped. So that was that. I don't know if you guys heard it or not, but what was I talking about? CGI, yeah. Like visual effects, I don't complain about it too much. It doesn't seem to bother me that much. It's just like minor things like Justice League CGI. I didn't really care. But it does get distracting at times when you tell people are at a green screen. But that's just a very small thing right there. Before I get onto the spoiler section, my verdict of this movie is that it's a really, really good movie. Everyone wants to say it's the greatest Marvel or superhero movie of all time. I wouldn't put it necessarily that high. I don't think it's better than the Avengers. I don't think it's better than, I would say, Civil War. It's arguable. I'd have to Civil War. I've watched it a dozen times. This movie, I think I would have to watch it a few more times before I could put it above that. Just naming recent movies that come to mind. I don't think it's better than Logan. I don't think it's better than Dark Knight. Not even close. But what I do think is better than, just off the top of my head, I think I would put it slightly above The Winter Soldier. I'd put it above Ant-Man. I loved Ant-Man. I'd put it above Doctor Strange. I also loved that movie too. I'd put it above Thor Ragnarok, Spider-Man Homecoming, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, maybe the first Guardians of the Galaxy as well. The first Iron Man, I think I'll put it above that. Avengers Age of Ultron, maybe. I don't know. I like that movie despite the hate it got. But yeah, Black Panther, man, it's up there. It's definitely in the top half, the top 10% maybe of superhero movies ever made. I'd put it above. I'd even say it's better than Wonder Woman, which I love that movie. It was one of my favorite movies last year. But like Black Panther, this being the first big superhero movie coming out this year, it really set some high standards. The next one, I believe, is it Avengers? Okay, Avengers, that's gonna be another thing. Okay, well, let's wrap up the verdict. I love Black Panther, as I love every superhero movie. At least that's the way it seems. So I'm gonna give Black Panther a final score of 9 out of 10. It's a solid A to A plus. Take that how you want it. Now, time for the spoiler section. In my previous video talking about Black Panther, talking about the hype, I said that Black Panther wasn't. I wasn't watching it to see how it affected the Black community or anything like that. I was watching it to see how it built up to Avengers: Infinity War, and I don't think it didn't really like have a larger impact outside of itself as to like the entire MCU and events to come. Like there was nothing like Thanos related. I was hoping we'd find out where the Infinity Stone is, but no, that was not in Black Panther. I do still believe that Infinity Stone, either it's in Wakanda, we just haven't seen it, or Thanos already has it. So yeah, we'll see what's up with that. Because knowing that Infinity War, we think a large part of it is going to take place in Wakanda. So yeah, it didn't really go outside much of what it is in terms of building towards the larger universe. However, I said this before, the Soul movie itself, it's really good. There are some moments. Sorry, just give me a second here. Take a breather. This is going on unedited. Let me just go on to more spoilers. Claw said that he was kind of cut short because he died. So I really didn't want to see him die, because I think we can build up Black Panther with a mythology that Iron Man had, have a lot of characters involved. I think Claw, he could have been around, he could have been an important guy going forward, building into the MCU if we're gonna have more Black Panther movies coming forward, but obviously that's not gonna happen because he's dead. Michael B. Jordan's character, I would have liked to see him built around more, and this wouldn't be, like, I wouldn't knock on this if this was just a solo movie, or because it's part of the universe, I wish he didn't die at the end, because he had good potential. He was a great, compelling character. If we're going to compare one movie against one movie, I think Michael B. Jordan in Black Panther was better than Tom Hiddleston in the first Thor. So like just their first appearances. So like if you look at it like that, if they built Killmonger, kept him, I think he could have become a really great character. His motives are just so good, because we have this scene at the beginning of the movie that involves younger character, young T'Chaka, young Killmonger, his brother, T'Chaka's brother, and that comes back to affect stuff that comes later. That's his motives. He wants to become king. He wants to challenge T'Challa to the throne, and that's just the whole like thing behind that is like really great. One spoilerish thing I didn't like is there was this arc of when Killmonger, he did beat T'Challa for the throne, and then he threw him off a waterfall or something, and then we're supposed to think for a portion of the movie that T'Challa's dead, but like I didn't like that. Like, come on, like we know he's not dead. Obviously he's not dead. He's in Avengers Infinity War. How is he gonna be dead? Like, don't even try this. So that's one thing. This one story-wise knock I didn't have. Really, spoilers. There's nothing really like wow, like that I can spoil. Like I can say Iron Man was in this movie. We didn't know that. Like, no, there's nothing like. There's no wows like that. It's just the story is just really good, really compelling. You gotta watch it to understand. Like, you can't just listen to someone talk about this movie and then get the gist of that. But like, this is the type of movie you need to see it to believe it, and see it to appreciate it. Because it is a movie that I think anyone would enjoy. Let's talk about end credit scenes, because I heard people say the end credit scene wasn't a wow, but it's something you can go without seeing. Like, you can skip the end credit scene. It's not good. I am against that. I think the end credit scene is fantastic. So there's two, as with every MCU movies. The first end credit scene, it's gonna be Black Panther. He's in like United Nations meeting. He's talking about Wakanda sharing with everything, all the resources they have with the larger world. Because there is another arc where Lupita Nyong'o's character, she's saying how Wakanda has so many things to help other people, but we don't do that. Why? And T'Challa's reason is basically because then if the world discovers what they really had, they would attack Wakanda basically. But she went on to argue that they have the resources to help the rest of the world and to also defend themselves against anyone who wants to threaten them. So at the end, T'Challa, he's basically saying like, yeah, we'll help and we'll defend. The next end credit scene, the one at the very end, it involves the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. He's there, and I was kind of disappointed not to see him in the actual movie, because I was thinking like, okay, there's a part where when Killmonger becomes king and T'Challa has nothing and needs to come back, he literally goes and asks for an army to this other tribe in Wakanda. And after they say no, I'm like, okay, you have the Winter Soldier here in Wakanda, frozen somewhere. Why don't you wake him up? But they didn't do that. By the end of the movie, we do see the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes. He's with Zuri, I think her name is, T'Challa's sister, and he wakes up. He's in Wakanda. He's wearing some like weird outfit. His facial hair is growing out. His hair is growing out. He still doesn't have his arm, so maybe that could explain why T'Challa wouldn't want to get like a one-armed guy to help him fight. But I think he's learning about Wakanda. He maybe, I don't know if he still has some memory issues, but yeah, we do see Winter Soldier. We do know he's going to be in Avengers Infinity War. So I think the end of this movie, building up to Avengers, I think it did a decent job doing that, previewing that. And I think just all the hype this movie's getting, it's going to make this a big year for Marvel, because Black Panther I think Black Panther will hype Avengers, and Avengers will hype Ant-Man, and Ant-Man comes in. You know the rest from there. So yeah, like, I think I'm gonna wrap it up there, guys. That's what I think about Black Panther. I think it was really good. Right now, I think it's my favorite movie of 2018. It is the only movie I saw in 2018, and we'll wrap it up there. I got a busy weekend ahead of me. I'm gonna be dropping a vlog real soon. I also need to work on school stuff. So, guys, until next time, I'm the Geek Badass Hybrid. You already know the catchphrase. Don't be a rock star. That's old fashioned. Be a geek star. All right, guys. Thanks for watching.